Hello and welcome back to the Irish Mammy channel. I was out bright and early this morning taking footage of the sunshine shining in the garden. If nothing else, to prove that the sunshine does actually shine in the garden. So we're in the middle of January now. This is the 14th of January. I don't know when you'll be seeing this, but the day I'm filming this is the 14th of January. And it's been so dull and dreary and damp. You'd actually forget that the sun even exists at this stage. So I was sitting in the sitting room with my morning coffee and looked out, and the garden actually, despite it looking sad and full of dead foliage, just the sunshine on it made it actually come alive for a wee while for me. So I was inspired to go out and take some shots. So if they turned out good, you'll have seen them before this. So at this time of the year, I do start to get impatient. I do wonder, am I ever going to see the light of day again? Am I ever going to get outside to do any work? And I have this job that I'm doing today waiting on me a long time. And I probably had plenty of opportunity weather-wise to do it before Christmas, but that doesn't always pan out. I mean, obviously I'm a working mother with 3 children. So time in the garden is precious, and I don't always get out. It doesn't always suit me. If the weather is good, it doesn't always suit me to get out in it. So while it was a lovely morning this morning, it has since turned into a showery day. And I think tomorrow is actually given a better day. So I was hemming and hawing whether it actually come out today. So I said I'd come out and get it started and we'll see how long I get at it. Like the rain will probably start as soon as I put my nose outside. So I'll try and make a start on it, and it's the kind of a job, once I make a start on it, I can get it finished over the next few days. It's just one of those jobs that I've kept putting off because I'm not looking forward to doing it. And I went yesterday trying to find all my tools. I don't actually know the tool I'm going to end up using, but I wanted to gather up a few of my tools to have a selection at least. It's the type of job, it goes on that long, you'll think you'll use one tool and you'll move to another and you'll find it's much better and more comfortable. So I have a selection of tools with me. I have my stuff all gathered up, and I'm actually going to go through and show you what I have here before I go outside of the greenhouse, because the wind is just something terrible and I still haven't got the fluffy lad for the mic. So to save your ears, I'll go through what I have now here in the greenhouse before I go outside, and you'll really just see time lapses probably outside. If the wind dies down, I'll try and get a close-up of what I'm doing. Otherwise, you'll be watching time lapses. So I'm going to turn the camera around now and show you what I've gathered up. Okay, so this is the box of stuff I've gathered up. So we're doing bulb planting. Now, this is the kind of thing where I say, do what I say, not what I do, because this should have been done long before Christmas. I'm really chancing my arm sticking them in the ground now, but the reality is, if I stick them in the ground now, there is a chance I'll get flowers. If I leave them lying in this box, I'll definitely not get flowers. So back in September, October, I went off to one of my favourite garden centres and I started dreaming like I usually do, and not thinking of all the work that goes into this. I was picking up lots of bulbs. So you can see here, this is a nice bulb mix. I've got 2 boxes of those, or 2 bags of those rather. A nice daffodil, peachy coloured daffodil with a lovely orangey coloured centre, dark peach centre. Doubles, of course, and they're paired with these pink tulips. So I thought that was a nice mix to do. Not exactly sure where in the garden I'm going to put that, but possibly along the right hand side of the walkway. I think, because there's only 15 bulbs in each of them, so 30 bulbs, not really go that terribly far. You can see they're sprouting. All the bulbs I have, I think, are sprouting at this stage. So look, the chances are I will get very short flowers this year, if I'm lucky enough that they come back next year. And really, some of my bulbs come back the following year and some of them don't. Daffodils are more hardy than tulips and better at coming back, but I've had experiences of both not coming back, to be honest. But that's mostly down to my soil. It's very claggy, clayey soil, and while I have been working on it in the last few years, some parts of it have been worked longer than others. Like one part of the flower bed out the front was developed first, so the clay in it is quite good, and I can even notice the difference when I'm digging in it, that it's softer to dig. My ground is full of stones as well, and too much to be really taking out the stones. I mean, that'd be an awful bit of work. So anyway, we'll see how we get on. I also have these tulips as well. I'll probably put them in a different area of the garden. Nice bright bold colours, which is what I love. And I have a mix similar to this along the left hand side of the driveway. So I'll probably put these along the left hand side of the driveway, just to kind of match up with what I have on the other side. I also have this big thing of daffodils. These are King Alfred Select. They're a long-lasting heritage variety, and that was the main reason I bought them, because I was hoping they would take in and naturalise in the garden. So they flower in March, April, so we have a bit of time, and they're a 14-inch height. So let's hope we get these coming along. But let's see when these are flowering. These are March, April as well. And let me see. Look at the back of this tag. Yeah, so you can see you're supposed to plant them September, October, November, December. So we're a bit late on that, about 2 weeks late. But however, and then they flower in April and May. So these are slightly later flowering tulips. And I think that could be the same with the ones that I already have. What else do I have? I have these alliums. So these are Christophii. A lovely huge head on these, and I mean they all have quite big heads, but this one says flower heads up to 20 centimeters across. So I had some alliums in the first flower bed that I developed out the front. They have not naturalized very well and came back very well, so I'm going to put more of these in. Now these only go up to 50 centimeters, so I'll be keeping these probably out around the edges where they can be seen. I'll probably dot some of them through the other plants, but for the most part I want to keep them to the front. I have 3 packs of these, and there's only 5 in each, so you know they're quite precious. 15 bulbs are not going to go very far, but if we keep them concentrated to a small area, we'll get some impact with them. Now these, there's a huge amount of these daffodils. I can't remember now. It doesn't actually say, does it, how many bulbs? Could have been 200 bulbs, was it? No, it doesn't say it, but maybe there's only 100 in it, I'm not sure. Anyway, it'll be enough. When I have them all in the ground, I'll be fairly cursing them. And the backs of my legs will be fairly cursing them as well. They're starting to sprout too. Some of them are probably soft. There's one there, a little bit soft. More just that they're desiccated, dried up, rather than like rotted. So they could still do okay with just being slightly desiccated once they get in the ground. And actually, in some ways, I'm wondering it could actually be better putting my bulbs in the ground later. Because honestly the ground is so wet and claggy, I'd imagine they'd have rotted up fairly quick, especially if I had them in, we'll say in like September, October. They'd be sitting around a long time in wet claggy soil before they'd actually be starting to bloom. So some tools I have now. I also have my leftovers from my potting projects here. If I get time, I'm going to stick some of those. Now you've seen those, they're the little dwarf daffodils, and the crocus there, and I had some grape hyacinths, what do you call them, mascari. So I had them there in this box as well, just because I was trying to keep them all together. But they will likely go in the pots. I have pots out the front, but we planted them up sometime in October with nice little viola, and they're actually doing quite well. So it'd be a shame to take out the viola. So I might find different pots and see what I do with them. So this is a hand-held bulb planter. You can also get a long-handled one, and I have a friend with a long-handled bulb planter. I was trying to get it off him, but I think he's borrowed it. He's lent it out to somebody else at the minute. But these bulb planters, you know, they're really only good if you have nice, soft, fluffy soil, which I don't really, to be honest. And I end up just getting frustrated with this more than anything else. I'd probably try it for a while, see how I get on, especially in the more cultivated area, the part of the flower bed that has been worked the most and that the soil is the softest. This will probably be okay in it. But as for the rest of the flower bed area, this will just end up getting caught in the claggy soil and stones and everything else. So I have a couple of other tools. So I have this tool. I haven't actually used this much yet. The idea of it seemed good to me. So we'll see how it goes. So it has this kind of sawn edge on it, which should help me cut through the soil a wee bit. And of course the length of it too, I thought it's probably about 6 inches long. And I thought it would be good to help measure the depth that I'm going to as well, because I don't know, does it say on these, but most of these should be 4 to 6 inches, planted 4 to 6 inches under down in the ground. Where do we see? Probably in here. So you can see there it says well drained, humus rich soil is ideal, but me and my soil are certainly less than ideal. Oh, so planting depth here is 4 inches for these, so they're not as bad. So probably that's probably 4 inches at that stage there. So it's good to know they're not down so deep. We'll see what these ones are. I'd imagine they could be deeper. No, 4 inches as well, it says for these. You can see that there. The depth, 4 inches, 10 centimetres apart. Not sure if I'll stick to that either. Probably noticed by now I'm not one for doing what I'm told. And these Christophii alliums, where do we see, does it say where they should be planted? Or how deep? I don't see it there. I don't see it there either. But honestly, I'd probably stick with between 4 and 6 inches. Roughly, I mean, you're not going to be measuring every day. Oh, well, let's see. There it is, 6 inches deep. Plant from August onwards. Oh, Lord, we're surely late with these. So 6 inches deep, 4 inches apart. Okay, so you're not going to see much outside. It'll be time-lapse probably for most of it. Mainly because, well, first of all, it's going to take me a while to get these in the ground, and secondly because the wind is just howling. Like, I mean, I'm even afraid having this greenhouse door open at the minute. I need to get it closed in case the whole lot blows away on me, or starts at least popping out some of these panels here behind me, which has been known to happen before in high winds. So you'll see me now in the front garden getting these in the ground. If the wind and rain dies down, I will bring you up closer and show you what I'm doing. See you in a minute. that's where I done the tulip and daffodil mix. If I got the footage right, you'll have seen I put a nice little drift around this area here, around the tree and up around the top of the footpath, and I had them quite spread out, but it will look like quite a heavy drift. And I then just brought it on down the walkway. Now I've only gone really about 2/3 of the way down the walkway, but it should look nice whenever it comes up in the spring. So now that I'm out here, you can get a good look at the sparseness of my garden, which you've probably seen from the morning clips as well. Definitely not very exciting looking. A few bits of greenery, green foliage, mostly dead foliage. I don't cut my shrubs and perennials back until the springtime. I like to leave them over the winter. I feel they kind of help protect the roots as well in case there is really heavy frost. And apart from that, they provide habitat and cover for birds and insects as well. And there would be some seed heads and things like that the birds and other little critters would like to munch on over the winter. So for that reason I leave it. But definitely an abysmal looking sight in the winter, as you can see from that view there. But the reality is that is why we plant bulbs over the winter, to bring a little bit of life to the garden in early spring, because it is so dull and dismal. It's abysmal looking really, and dreary looking, and it's lovely to see the bulbs coming up then in springtime, just showing that little bit of life springing out of the ground. It signifies the start of the new season, start of the new growing year, and it brings me a lot of excitement to see that in the springtime. So while it is a bit of a chore, this wind is probably going to deafen you, while it is a bit of a chore to do it in the winter time, especially when the weather's like this, it does be worth it. It is rewarding come springtime, when you see the lovely blooms and the bright colour in the garden in the springtime. So that's it for now. I'm not going to bring you through the rest of it. I'd say the wind is probably deafening you at the minute already. I'm not going to bring you through the rest of it. Reality is it's starting to rain now again, and this will probably take part over a few days, all this bulb planting. But I will bring you back in the springtime when they do come up. Hopefully that they will come up. I'll bring you back and show you what they all turned out like. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe down below. I do appreciate all the subscriptions I get. It really does make a difference. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.